All right, we are live, everybody. A couple minutes early. Gonna wait for everybody to kind of get in here. Make sure everybody can hear me, you can see me, all that good stuff. Got some people already in the chat. Dale, Crow, Richard, John. Hello, how are you guys doing this evening? I know it's been a couple of weeks, but we're here. We're back. My hat's all crooked. How's everybody doing this evening? All right, so we got a couple of minutes before we officially really get started. Jules, how you doing, friend? Mr. Montelato, how are you doing? All right. Let's see here. I got about 12 people. We'll get some more people on here in just a little bit, and we'll officially get started with tonight's chat. So, to everybody, check out the video I just dropped. This is like the first in the series that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing several of these shorter videos to help people with some of their painting needs and stuff. I'll be going over some things like settings and all that, and we'll get into that here in the chat in just a little bit. Bama, hey, oh, that's good, man. Awesome. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear we got some good people on the Facebook group, and we got some really good people in our Discord. So if you're looking to take that a step further, make sure to check out my Patreon page. Jules, I did receive the Freddy Krueger's phone. It looks pretty cool. Yeah. Thinking about printing that one here pretty soon. I love those little horror props like that. I wish more people would do horror figures and stuff like that. I think you're probably like the only one that I know of that actually has a Patreon. So, yep. Let's see here. We're almost at the top of the hour. So tonight we're going to be talking about the hype between about 10K, 12K, 14K, 24K, whatever printers, and just kind of debunking some of that stuff. I've been actually working with a few of those. So there's some stories behind that. Ralph, how you doing, buddy? Got the phone supported, and it's going on this weekend. Yeah. Yep. All right. All right. So it looks like we're at the 7:00 hour. That's 7 p.m. my time for you guys that are in the UK and overseas and everything. I'm sure it's pretty late where you're at. I appreciate you guys getting on here tonight. We don't have too many people on right now, but maybe here in just a couple of minutes or so that some people will hop on. This is kind of like a last minute thing. I've been out of town all week for my real job, my day job, the one that pays the bills, and I got back day before. Was it day before yesterday? No, yesterday. I got back yesterday, and I was just pretty much just beat. But I wanted to get something up for the live stream tonight, and I was kind of debating on whether to do it or not. But here we are. So I know there's a lot of people who actually look forward to these live streams, which is kind of weird. We do a lot of them compared to some of the other content creators that I've seen. There's a few 3D printers and painters and stuff that really don't do any type of live streaming at all. And I get it. They probably rather focus more on actual content and stuff, but I do like interacting with everybody and chatting with everybody on here, and we'll continue doing it as long as people keep showing up for it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Other people will hop on. I'm sure there'll be some people to actually probably watch the live stream afterwards or whatever, and we'll kind of just go from there. So I've been doing a lot of research. I've been doing a lot of research on 10K printers, even 8K printers and stuff. And I've been trying to find out what exactly sets them apart from the older stuff. And in short, it's not much. I don't think that 10K, 12K, even they've got 14K printers out now. There's not any difference. The biggest misconception is if you get one of these higher resolution printers, such as a 10K, 12K, 14K, that's going to make your prints better. And that's from what I see. And again, you guys may have different experiences, but from my experiences, that's a myth. That's a selling point for the printer manufacturers to get you to buy the newest, the latest and greatest thing. Same thing with resin. Resin is like resin. I mean, there's no great hidden internal element in the resin that's going to make it that much better than the next and stuff. Now, granted, there are different contents that manufacturers will put in a resin compared to another resin, different elements such as like different polymers and things like that to help with toughness and transparency, things like that. But anything as far as resolution, I have not seen anything that really deciphers in a huge uh, capacity from one from the other. Like I use Sunlu resin, it's cheap. You can always find it on Amazon pretty cheap, and it works. I mean, it doesn't have to have anything fancy to it or whatever like that. It's a good, cheap, inexpensive resin. It's plentiful. And I know there's a lot of people who hate Sunlu. I know those, oh, it's just terrible. It's just god awful. And they hate all kinds of different types of resins and stuff like that. And a lot of that's because they haven't had good experience with it right out the gate. For one, it's user error. That's usually 90% of it right there. They don't take the time necessarily to do some sort of calibration print or anything of the sort. They just want it to print. I want this piece to print out the way I want it. It's got to look crisp. It's got to look clean. The first time they have a failure, it's like, I'm throwing it out the window. It's garbage. We all know that resin printing doesn't work like that. I mean, I can't tell you how many bottles of resin I went through and wasted whenever I first started. It's just something that you have to work with. But with the new printers coming out, it's marketing. There's nothing that you're going to make me believe that an 8K printer, if you set a print with an 8K printer, 10K, 12K, whatever, there's not going to be any huge difference within the quality of those prints. The only difference in the quality of the print is going to be if you go from like a 6K printer all the way to a 10K, yeah, there's going to be resolution um, differences and stuff like that. But all in all, I bet you I can take a 6K printer and come out with a just as good, if not better, print than a 12K. Because that I use right now, I still use some of my old Lenant printers, a couple of old Anycubic Photon Mono X printers, and I still get some really good quality prints. So if you're forking over money for these printers because you think you're going to get a better print, it's like a magic in a bottle or whatever like that. I'm here to tell you, it's not going to work. I made a video a while back to kind of make a point on that, and not realizing what I did. I have basic settings I use for all of my printers. And all of my resins, and it works. I mean, now, granted, there's different factors in that. I work in a controlled environment. So, I mean, there's temperature issues, there's, the climate that you're in. A lot of that depends on humidity, barometric pressure, things like that. It does have an effect on your prints. I mean, because of that, but it's not necessarily the printer itself. Um, I think that the reason that they're trying to push this on people so much is because, for one, they don't have any other elements they can really put into a printer that's going to make a huge difference. So that's a marketing ploy. But if you go back to uniformation printers, there's some things in there that do make a difference, like heated vats. That is a huge contributor, especially like if you're trying to print in a cold climate, if you live in a northern state or something like that where you have relatively no humidity whatsoever. You print in a garage, and of course, not in a house or anything like that. So that does have an effect. But that is what we should be asking these printer manufacturers for. If you're not getting that out of a printer, you're just getting the same printer that they manufactured the year before. There's no big difference. Now, if you're one of those that have convinced yourself that there is a difference, I mean, are you putting your print like under a microscope and looking at the differences or whatever? Because that's the only way you're going to see it. There's just no difference. I mean, I got a print right here in front of me, and I'll show you here in a minute. I printed on a 4K printer, and then this print is probably as detailed as any other print that I've ever used, printed. And I don't see getting any type of better resolution print um, out of another printer. I mean, so the biggest thing that you can do is, maintain your printers that you got, keep them clean. Of course, you're going to have to change out FEP. You're going to have to eventually change out screens and stuff like that. But the difference with that is some of the screens, they're actually starting to make them unavailable. Yeah. So they're making them unavailable. So you have to buy a new printer. So that is something that's just recently started to happen. So now I can't remember which printer it is. I want to say it's one of the older Anycubics that, or it might have been a Frozen printer. I went to go buy a screen for the other day, and the screen was like $259, and it was for a 6K printer. Well, I could buy a 10K printer for that much, basically. So the printer manufacturers are starting to get a little smarter in, kind of forcing your hand into buying a new printer, even though you really shouldn't have to. But I do print a lot. I print, my printers are constantly going. And let me see if I can get this print here. My printers are constantly going, and I don't, uh, I don't change out screens very often, but I do have to every now and then. I'm trying not to break this thing. Ugh. Let me see if I can get it here. Now I'm going to cry if I drop this. This is a Punisher print that I am waiting to paint. I printed this one here probably a good, I don't know, 7, 8 months ago. And I printed it on a 4K printer. This thing has swap out heads. It's got a lot of detail and everything. If you were to look, if you could see it up a little closer and stuff, like the head, you could see like the hair, the pores in the skin, things like that. Now, a lot of that is from my settings. It's my basic settings that I use for everything. I've studied enough where I can, you know, tweak things here and there and stuff. Again, I'm pretty consistent with my temperature here in my room now. Um, and I get the same result out of these lower resolution printers that I do with the higher resolution printers. So, I mean, it's possible to do that. Let me see. So a while back, Uniformation put out a 12K upgrade. And I'm sure if you guys, some of you probably have heard, some of you probably not have heard. So they backed off of selling that thing and promoting it because um, it's actually a worse resolution print than it was for the normal GK2, which is, I believe, what, an 8K printer. So there was virtually when they did the spectrum and the resolution and everything like that, they actually come out with a worse print, or not so good print. It wasn't worse or anything like that, but it wasn't any better. But it was not as good as the normal 8K printer. So they stopped forking that out there, putting that out there. Now, I have been talking with some people from GK or from Uniformation, and they are coming out with a GK3 sometime this year, and I'll be getting that and reviewing it. So my curiosity is, what are they going to do that's going to outdo the GK2? The first thing that comes to mind with me is print volume, is a bigger print volume. That's the only thing that I can see that they could really go into, because they have the heated vat right now. They've got the slide in, slide out vat, which is very easy and very economical to use. But the logistics of the printer that they got right now is very, very good. And I would love to have a bigger build volume on a printer like that. Of course, when you start delving into bigger print volumes, then that opens up to speed issues. There is resolution issues, things like that can happen or whatever. And everybody out there, it seems like, is just driven on speed. And I don't know why. I mean, everybody really wants to get it done quick, and if you just have patience and take your time and stuff, I mean, this took a while to print. But I don't have any regrets in waiting on it or anything. Like I said, I've had the thing printed for probably 7 or 8 months, and I have not got into it's not even prepped yet. This is a raw print. It's been cured and everything. There's still a lot of prep work to do, but I haven't gotten into painting it yet or anything. So, I mean, hashtag backlog. Um, but I mean, if you're printing like me, I mean, you're going to have a lot of prints like this that are just going to be, you're going to have to take you just take your time on it. You're not going to have to rush it or anything like that. Oops, let's put this back. Oh, it's not a heavy print by any means. It's very, very light. All right. So hopefully that clarifies a little bit of that misconception when it comes to your higher resolution printers. They're better, they're superior than anything else. I mean, they're going to have different elements, upgrades, and stuff like that. But the end story is a 12K printer is not going to produce that much of a difference, if hardly any, to the naked eye, compared to like a 10K or an 8K or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's the new shiny thing, and so people want it. People got to have it. And whoop, there's a bug in here flying, and that's just the way it is. Yeah. So let's see here. Don says, see, Don's got a question here. Having problems with G2 Box with putting holes in models after being hollowed. Not sure what is going on, but it won't show up on the model all the time, and isn't parallel to the model. I'm saying parallel, I guess. New version also. So Don, the one thing that you have to do is in Box, what I've realized that I usually do a 5 millimeter depth on the hole. I usually print at 1.8 to 2.2 millimeters on the shell on the thickness of the model. So there is a percentage right there, like a resolution or something like that. And I usually go with like 50%, and it actually smooths the inside surface off so you can actually punch a hole through it. So it's one of those things. If your model, if you if you go through the settings and you like go through the whole 3D thing or whatever like that, if you look at the inside of the model, like if it's a lot of ridges and stuff like that, then yeah, it's not going to know to punch a hole through there. It's not going to let you. It has to be kind of a smooth surface. So there, yeah, like Rob said, there's a compatibility mode thing on there that will allow you to get that smooth surface and punch a hole through there. It's when I go through some of my tutorials and everything, that's little things like that that I'll be working on and showing you guys as well. So definitely, if you're not tuned into my channel, make sure you go over and subscribe and everything, because I'll be doing tutorials on there like that. Let me see. Right. So with printers, it's like the TV resolution game. You get to a point where you just can't see the difference. Let me see. Frozen has a Sonic Mighty Revo 14K printer coming out this month. I saw that. And I'm actually working with Frozen to try and do some reviews on some of their stuff. Now, I still use my Sonic Mega 8K printer. That's a huge monster of a printer. And it's an 8K, and I guarantee you it's going to outperform that Revo. um, 14K, I mean, really, are you really getting that much out of that thing? And correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that the one that's like $1,000 or something like that? It's like $1,100, $1,200. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think that when you get to that point, are you getting your money's worth out of it? Are you just buying the new shiny thing, like we said earlier? I think that you're not going to see that much of a difference. So, yeah, Don, if you're having problems with Box and it just keeps being a pain, you can also try Lychee Slicer. I don't use Lychee because I'm just so used to using Box, but it's a good slicer. Hopefully that'll help you with some of your problems. Yeah, guys, if you don't mind, will you smash that like button for me? Need some likes on here. So going back to printers and stuff, I mean, let me know in the comments what you would like to see in some of these up and coming printers, because I do give feedback to some of these companies that I do some reviews for and everything. I'm actually doing some stuff for Hay Gears. They actually have a reflex system, which it looks pretty cool, and I'm going to be reviewing that one pretty soon. It's a very nice printer setup, but it also has a wash and cure station that comes along with it. And so, okay. So anyway, yeah. So I'm going to be reviewing that one and posting that one here very, very soon. No, I use the free Box. I do not pay for a slicer. I mean, there's enough stuff we have to pay for as it is when it comes to resin, certain softwares and stuff like that. If you're a designer, then of course you got to pay for ZBrush and things like that. No, I use the free version. I got a free trial for the paid version and stuff, and I actually never fulfilled that. I just let it run out because I did not like the paid version. Let's see. When it comes to printing with 12K, does it make a difference when prints are super larger or mini like Space Marines? I do not think so. I say no. People will argue with me that it does, but I have not seen any difference whatsoever. When it comes to no matter how small you print or how large you print, most of my stuff, I think it's actually tougher to get a better resolution print, to zero in on it and everything for a larger print. A smaller print, you don't have to worry about things like certain textures, certain details like skin pores and hair and stuff like that, because it just gets absorbed because of being so small. When you get larger prints, then you have to worry about pixelating the print where it gets so big that the details won't come out or whatever. You kind of get, instead of like a rounded edge, it's kind of like squared off or whatever, because maybe the artist didn't punch those details in like they should have. So I worry about that. But when I'm analyzing a print, when I'm looking at a file and I actually put it on the build plate, sometimes I'll just see how far I can stretch that thing just to see what kind of resolution I'm going to get a general idea whenever I print it. Because there are some that when you look at them from a 1/6 perspective and you put them on the print, the build plate, they look fine. But when you actually want to go to a quarter scale or something like that, then it seems like the details just start to muffle, and it doesn't look good. And so therefore, that means the artist just really didn't have that in mind. So I hope that answers. It's probably clear as mud, but um, so Dave says he emailed Elgu and asked if they were working on a rival to Bamboo and AMS systems because they're an Elgu guy. So Frozen has actually got a new printer that's coming out. It might be out already that kind of rivals the Bamboo printer. So everybody's going to jump on that because that really took off like a rocket. People love that AMS system. And I'm not a big FDM printer person, but it looks like it's fun to print. I'm going to paint whatever I print usually, so that's kind of obsolete when it comes to what I do. But like if you're looking for like bicolor, four color type prints or whatever, some things that you can just kind of print and set in your desk or whatever like that, then that's a cool toy to mess with. Um, let me see here. If they would do refillable spool cases like Bamboo, less waste of spools is good for me. That's something to think about too. Uh, what would I say is my favorite print I have ever done? Everybody asks me that all the time, and it's really tough to say. My favorite print that I've ever done would have to be Wicked's Punisher and Daredevil, uh, like cathedral diorama with the stained glass and everything in it. I did a video on that like 2 years ago. That's probably my favorite print because that's probably one of the first big ones that I've ever done. And I've got it right here in front of me. And I just love that print. It's very nice. It's well thought out. It just displays so well. And I really enjoy it. And that's still one of my favorite prints. One of my other favorite prints that I got is Jewel. And I'm not saying this because Jules is on here, but Jules Modelato's Punisher. That thing it is big. It is beefy. It's a very good rendition of Frank Castle. And of course, I'm a Punisher fan. But that thing is just well thought out. And again, I did a video on that one as well. Let me see. Sarge, how you doing? No, you didn't miss very much, sir. Let's see. Jermaine says he's printing a multicolored articulated dragon on the Bamboo PS1 P1S right now. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like if you print stuff like that, like I got one of these dragons right here in front of me, and I thought these things are super cool. And I just did it with some tricolor silk filament. I didn't really get into like multicolored stuff like the Bamboo or whatever. But yeah, I mean if that's your thing, then that's great. Um, but I don't think that the route to go for manufacturers is to really push 10K, 14K, 12K printers. I think what they need to really look into, I think they need to look into things like build volume, like heated vats. I would look at how they construct the the printer itself and like the fans that they use in it. Because I can tell you right now, there's been a couple printers that I've gotten that, but I think it's hot, and that printer does not seem like it just does very well. But I would look into, um, using glass for your print screens, so that way, you're bound to have something leak on top of that screen, and it's going to dry and it's going to piss you off, and you have to get another screen. So I would look at more like stuff like that to help protect the consumer from something going wrong. You want stuff to last, and as a manufacturer, I think that I would want my customers uh, to last. Their printers would last them and stuff, and give them options rather than just kind of forcing something down their throat. So, like for me, I would love a glass top uh, print screen. That way, again, if something dries on there or whatever like that, then you can just scrape it off, not have to worry about screwing up your screen or anything like that. Of course, the heated vat, Uniformation is like a master at that one. I think the case, I think like Lenant has like the half shell that's actually removable. You take half of it out. These flip cases, they just require a lot of room for you to put it on your shelf or whatever. I think just a removable case, the half screen or whatever like that, works great. You don't have to have any funky handles on the side of it or anything like that. Just take the thing off. I mean, that's not a big deal. Um, the resin reservoirs, ones that actually friggin' work and don't stop up or whatever like that. Like this M3 Max over here, it has the reservoir or whatever like that. You can hook up to it. I don't even use it. It's just out. I mean, it's a pain in the butt. It doesn't work very good. So I mean, things like that. Um, Build plate construction. I think that they need to start like how do you how what am I trying to say, like pre-imprint their build plates, like instead of making them so smooth where nothing just wants to grab onto it. So like the diamond shaped ones or whatever like that, the diamond etching, that's what I'm talking about. Like pre-etched build plates would be good. I think dual linear rails would probably be good. That way, if something happens to where you got a little shifting and nodding, because like there's also some times where if you have on your build plate, you imagine you have on your build plate here on this side, you have a larger piece than you have on this side. You will get some shifting and nodding in some cases or whatever on that big one, but from the suction issue. So when that thing like pulls off that build plate, it kind of vibrates this smaller piece over here, and you're going to have some tagging or something like that. Something's not going to jive right. Doesn't always happen, but I've seen that. Um, so a couple other things. I mean, man, I could talk about this all day long, but an internal power source I think is important rather than having that big bulky box that heats up like crazy on the outside. It could be a fire hazard. I have no need for Wi-Fi, so I don't know why people put that on there. Do you really use your Wi-Fi on a printer? I mean, some people probably do. They probably like that function. I don't care for it. It's not like I'm going to sit there from my work and go, I need to print a print, because you have to fill that sucker with resin. You have to slice the model and all this other stuff, and you can't really do that from your phone or anything like that. Just do it from your computer at home. I mean, why do you need Wi-Fi on there? I maybe for updates or something like that, for firmware updates. I'm not sure what people use the Wi-Fi for. I just have no use for it. And probably the other thing that I would look at too is the construction of the vat. So a lot when you're taking the FEP off, I like the dual bands, like where you take the one out, unscrew it, and it's off into another one. Like there's some that are single bands, if you know what I mean. Like the ring is like just one ring that goes on there. It's a pain to get that on there and to get that thing tight enough to where it doesn't come off or is very flexible or whatever like that. So I've screwed up some brand new FEP films by a single band, and I don't like that. So yeah. Let me see. Let me answer a couple of questions here. Do you use PLA or other filament for your figures? No, I really don't, because the resin tends to give more details than PLA. I use PLA mainly for like bases and stuff, and then that's kind of even questionable. If I have a heavy print or a larger print where I feel like the PLA is going to be sturdier or whatever like that, then yeah. Now, if I'm doing any cosplay type stuff, then yeah, I will use PLA because I don't want to put like resin on my head. Like if I'm doing a helmet or something like that, PLA is more durable. It's more stronger to actually work with, like if you're wearing it or something like that. Practicality, that's what they need to focus on. You're correct, Dave. Heated vats, ease of opening to get the build plates out, solid good fans, maybe ease of hooking up hose to the vent outside. Correct. And you guys may have a totally different opinion about this, but these little air purifiers that they put in these printers, that is a flipping joke. Those things don't work. I mean, come on now. I mean, you're going to put one of these or two of these like in a Photon Max or something like that, and you really think that that's going to break down on fumes or something? No. So another thing that I think that companies should do is they should, after they made these changes, these pull out, cases and stuff like that, the fronts on them or whatever like that, start making some enclosures that will actually work. If you ever had like a greenhouse and you see the carbon filter and the fan on there to get the emissions out and stuff like that, that's something they need to move to, where you can put that printer in an enclosure. It can be in an acrylic enclosure or whatever, and pull all those fumes out into like some type of carbon filtration or some type of extraction fan. That right there would shut down on all of the fumes and everything. Not this little bitty purifier. That's just a marketing thing as far as I'm concerned. I mean, if anybody has used them and comes and says, "Oh man, I don't have any fumes whatsoever," then please let me know in the comments, because I got some swampland in Alaska to sell you dirt cheap. So yeah, like Paul says, some nice way to vent the fumes outside would be innovation right there. Yeah. So it's like 3D printers are a commodity. Like Jermaine said, after you bought the Saturn II, a few months later, Elegoo dropped 3 new printers. So yeah, I can show you something that I'm actually working on, that you guys could probably do for your resin printers. So I've got an actual shelving, like a metal shelving that I have a few printers on. My idea is to actually enclose it in acrylic, okay, and make it airproof or airtight or whatever like that, with some insulation or something like that. And then I'm going to be using this system here, and this is kind of what I was talking about. Hold on one second. I got it on the floor. So I have an extraction system here, and it's big because this is going to be a big deal. So I actually have this thing that I will actually hook up to the side of the container, and it'll actually extract it with this powerful. This is a pretty powerful fan here, and suck all the fumes out and stuff. I've still kind of have to do some rigging up on this right here, and it will actually go into this big ass carbon filter. So this is actually going to purify all of the scents and everything. I've already tried it with a paint booth. It works perfectly. And now I'm going to be trying it on my resin printers, because I have a lot of printers and I do get a lot of smelling, a lot of fumes and stuff like that. I don't want to be ingesting a lot of that. So this is a system I'm going to be looking at to do, and I'll be making a video on it if it's successful. um, so I actually, total cost on that was less than $100. It wasn't a bad deal. So um, hopefully that can get rid of a lot of the fumes. Now, I don't think it's probably going to get rid of everything, because that's printer resin is fairly strong. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to get rid of everything, but hopefully that would help. Um, yeah, they use those mainly in a grow tent. There's some things that I'm kind of tweaking with it a little bit. But yeah. Uh, Dave says that's what I use in a grow tent, and I made a window piece that hose goes into so I can shut the window. Told manager where we're at so nobody thinks I'm running a stinky meth lab. Right. Well, I own my own house, so I don't have to worry about that. Um, Tyrone says thinking about buying his first printer this month. What would I suggest? Oh man, there's so much out there right now. So depending on the print volume that you want to do, I would look into some of the Elgu printers. I would look into, they're costly, but they work really good. The Lenant printers, the Uniformation GK2 is like a super printer. It's great mid-size print volume. They're a little pricey as well, but they're worth the money. So yeah, Rob knows what I'm talking about. All right. So anywho, let me know what you think about that whole marketing thing with the 14K, 12K printers and stuff like that, because I just don't see it. If anybody has any experience where you just like you're so wowed by the newer printers and stuff compared to some of the older ones and resolution and everything like that, let me know what really kind of brought it out. I think a lot of that has to do with your settings. If you have poor settings, you're not running your calibration prints or anything like that, nothing to really have a gauge to go by, then it's kind of a crapshoot. It's really one of those things that it's a trial and error sort of thing. Yeah, I started with a Mars 2 as well. I love that printer. It's so small and so dinky and tiny. I was printing. That's actually what I printed most of the Punisher and Daredevil Cathedral diorama with. I had to cut it up in so many pieces because that printer was so small, but it worked. It worked pretty good. Great printer. That was my first resin printer that I ever got. But anyway, so the Hey Gears printer that I'm working with right now, I think is a 10K printer. I have not printed anything on it yet. I'm doing a little bit of experimentation and stuff with Uniformations compared to that one, and then compared to this Creality one that I've got here also. And so we'll see. I think even Fohammer did a video that kind of dives into it probably a little bit more detail than what I'm talking about here on this live stream about the difference there, or the non-difference between 10K, 12K, and 14K printers. So I haven't seen that video yet, but I've seen it advertised. I do follow him. He's got some pretty cool videos, kind of going into the whole detailed type thing with printers. So yeah. So resin, I can tell you now that resin makes a huge difference. I have used this recently, this Water Fairy resin from Resin One, and it looks like colored water. I mean, it is so thin, and it's just watery. It's not soupy at all. It just looks like you're putting in like colored water into your printer. But let me tell you something, this stuff grabs that build plate really, really good. So if you're having trouble with stuff sticking to the build plate, you might want to look into that. It's Resione, Resione, uh, called Water Fairy. They have different translucent colors: purple, pink, orange, red, clear, green, blue. But that stuff is really, really good. And it's, like I said, it's super thin. And another thing too, it's a water washable resin, so it doesn't stink as bad. Has a little bit of an odor, but yeah, they sent me some of that to try out, and I really liked it. They do have what is it, the M150 resin, which is a thicker, tough resin that I've been using here lately, and it's it's working pretty good. So yeah, GTA guy, you're welcome. Um, where did I get the fan and the carbon filter? I actually got it off of Amazon. And Josh, are you on my Discord? If you're on the Discord, then I'll post a link for it in there. Um, and that's another thing, guys. If you're looking for a Discord, I mean, we talk about different products and things like that, paints, brushes, printers, just vortex mixers, you name it, anything associated with printing and painting, we kind of go over it. A lot of the guys in there have used some of this stuff before, so it's good information. Like if you're kind of shopping around, if you're looking for something that to help you along your way or whatever, or if you just want to get on there and BS with the rest of us. But it does help support the channel. And I do have model of the month. Working on the next model for March. It is going to be Major Blood from G.I. Joe, but I'm also throwing a couple things in there that you're really, really going to like. A couple of characters that you don't see much of. Matter of fact, I have not, the one particular that I have coming up, I have not seen but maybe one or two models of it, and it is badass. It's a badass model. I think you guys are really going to dig it. And that's if you're part of the $10 tier. Again, it supports the channel, allows me to keep doing this. I put pretty much everything back out of that Discord back into, getting a model made for you guys. Do I have my own 3D characters that I created and printed? I don't have anything original or anything. I don't create the characters. I would love to be able to create stuff in ZBrush. I just don't have the time to learn it. It takes a while to learn that. It's very complex. Sarge says my Anycubic FDM started the vibrating tick. It's been down a few weeks now. Let me know what it's doing, Sarge. You can text me or whatever like that, and we'll maybe I can try and help you troubleshoot it. So let me see what else. Nobody else has anything else. Let's see. Okay. So I know that a lot of the manufacturers right now that are based out of China are out right now on Chinese New Year on their holiday. And I think they're supposed to be returning back, the 17th or something, or Monday or something like that. I can't remember. So I've been told from a couple of reliable sources that work with some of these companies that they're getting ready to start pushing out new printers. There's been a couple that have been in the works for quite some time, and they're talking about pushing those out pretty quickly. Unfortunately, like companies like Lenant, who I loved, I've used for the past couple of years. I've done reviews. I've got like 4 of their printers, and I love them. To my knowledge, they're not making anything anytime soon, which is probably going to be a dagger in the heart for them right there. They started off really, really good, and they just really got kind of relaxed and not really have made anything. And that's the problem with a lot of these small companies. They don't have the funding to continue the R&D to get new printers out there for you guys. But you got companies like Anycubic and Elegoo who keep shoving them down our throats. Like every couple of months, you get a new printer that you have. The people just, oh, gotta have it, gotta have it, gotta have it. So yeah, my suggestion if you really want my suggestion is save your money, force these people to give you what you want when it comes to some of the things we've talked about in tonight's stream, like the heated vats, the casing and things like that. I would focus more on maybe building you something, taking some of the money that you got, building some of those structures to help you with fumes and things like that. Um, if if you have a lot of shifting and stuff, look into what you have your printer on as far as a table or whatever. Because if that table is shifting and it's kind of vibrating when the thing prints or whatever, then of course that's going to be an issue too. If it's, I would look at things like that. Start investing in things that will help the little things like some type of heating, some type of filtration, or some filtration that's going to work. Some type of really nice filtration. Look into, like, you can actually, some of these printers that have these flip top enclosures, there's actually some YouTube videos on there how to convert them into like either a case that will actually open up from the front or just be removable from the front. So that would, I would look into that. And then once these guys start coming out with stuff that you really, really want, that you're going to notice a big difference, then jump on that printer. Because otherwise you're just going to be buying the same printer over and over again from a different manufacturer. Hey, Daryl, how you doing? So let's see here. Jermaine says, my friend got the Anycubic Cobra Go for Christmas in 2022. It took almost a full year to get a good print off of it. I had the same problem out of this Anycubic M3 Max. And you know what? I've been bitching about it for like over a year. What finally did it was I had to have the bottom exposure time at 80. That is the only way something will stick to that build plate. I bought a new build plate, got a new screen. I mean, everything was like new on this thing. So now, like, I got a print on it right now that's printing, but it's still got a failure on part of it. But I'm letting it go and seeing what happens. So, but yeah, the sucker's on 80. And then when you, and I've tried 60, I've tried 70, I've tried 75. Nope. It has to be at 80. And when that thing comes off the build plate, you're sitting there. I'm literally chiseling this damn thing off the build plate. I have a hammer right here. This is my little hammer that I have to tap that crap off the build plate off that thing. It's ridiculous. Should never have to do that with a build plate. Elegoo needs to use more planets. Yeah, we need the Uranus 500. Sorry. The 3D printer companies are releasing a new model every year. They're actually releasing a new model like every 6 months, Dan. Yeah, look at some of these. You'll see them like they're popping them out like just like potato chips, man. It's just like, here you go. So it's crazy. Yeah, we need the Uranus 8K. Hey, Mike, how you doing? So anyway, by all means, also check out the video. I know I said this earlier, but for you guys who are getting it on the live stream now, I've dropped a new video today to help start my series of videos that I'm going to be gearing towards painting. I'll also be doing another series gearing towards printing. So not to be redundant or anything like that, it's going to be some settings that I've personally worked on, not what everybody else is doing. I don't want to just filter the same old goobly gook or whatever like that into you and tell you we're trying to reinvent the wheel on printing and even painting. These are some things that I've been doing for years that have worked for me, and I want to pass along the knowledge if if you guys are willing to accept it. So Don said, you got it to work, Don? Awesome. Arcourt says, Harbor Freight hammer. I actually got this hammer when I bought my shelving off of Amazon. It's one of these little rubber mallets to the shelving I got was metal. One of the worst purchases I ever made. And these metal shelving, like the shelving itself is like warped and everything. So when you put something on it, it's kind of uneven and all that, and they're just horrible. So I actually got them here sitting in the floor. They need to probably go in the shed, be used for something different. So yeah. Let me see. So yeah, Sarge, I did the same thing. I switched to a clear FEP on the Max, with regular print settings and 80, 80 on the bottom exposure rate, exposure settings. Let's see. Yep. So if you're looking for help or whatever like that, and you're looking for a good Discord to join, you're just getting started in there, by all means, look into my Patreon. There's a link in the description. Got a lot of good people over there. So yeah. My wife says they're releasing before they know the issues with the previous model and the user wants out of a new model. Yep. So that's kind of exactly what I was talking about. When they release a printer, it hits a release date. They've already got one in the works they're working on. They're not really waiting for feedback on the one that they're dropping then. They're not giving it enough time. So it's almost like you get a beta unit. It's going to have all kinds of flaws and issues, but you can't go back to them and say, hey, this works, this doesn't work, because by that time they've already got another one coming right behind it. It's all about marketing and money. It's all about what they, what they have. They want to push everything in front of you. They want to talk about 12K, 14K, stuff like that. I mean, I don't even know if DLP printers, I don't think they're really much of a thing. They're slow. They would be slow as molasses. The technology on there would make them incredibly slow, but I really don't think that they're going to be that much better. I think the resolution, they need to leave it alone. They need to leave it alone, and they need to start getting into some of these features that will actually, make a difference within your prints. I'm not worried about print time. I don't know about you. I just want a good, crispy, clean print. And if I can get that, then I am A-OK. You've earned my business. So, hey, we also got a Mike. Thank you so much, buddy. We got a $9.99 super sticker here from Mike. Thank you so much. I appreciate it very, very much, sir. Let's see. So yeah. Sarge says I had to end up drilling and tap the main bracket and buy a longer screw to hold my build plate on. Anycubic was no help getting me a new bracket. So here's my take on Anycubic. And if anybody from Anycubic is watching this or watches this or whatever, don't put out another printer. Okay. Don't put out another printer because all your printers are the same. Fix your customer service, for crying out loud, because your customer service sucks. Your printers that you're releasing them, way ahead of its time or whatever. These things, a lot of what people are saying is they're becoming junk. But they have the worst customer service ever. This M3 Max that I got, a year went by before they would really do anything on it. And then they told me, oh, it's out of warranty. Can't do anything. Well, you dumbasses, you're the one that sent me the printer. So yeah, they sent me the printer. The thing wouldn't work and they still wouldn't help me. I mean, it's like, you sent me the printer to review. I'm letting you know what's going on with it. It's out of warranty. Well, of course it is, because you gave it to me. Oh my God. So anyway, that was a funny story. And believe it or not, I actually got a couple of prints out of it a while back, but the only ones that would really help me with it were the people from Lonant. I mean, and this is a competitor, but they gave me certain settings and told me what I can do to tweak things. I managed to get a couple of decent prints out of it, and then it started screwing up again. So I just gave up on it. But I forget who it was in my Discord. It was I think it was Chuck Rodriguez. I think was and I got to give props to Chuck. I think he told me, he's like, dude, you're going to probably have to turn that resolute or that exposure time up to like 80. He goes, that's what I had to do, and it works like a charm. So Chuck, thank you. Credit where credit is due. Rob with a 9.99. Thank you so much, Rob. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. All right. Let's see. Mike says Elegoo sent me 4 screens for the Jupiter after the first one I got was defective, plus protective screens to replace the ones I had on it. Yep. That's customer service for you, my friend. So that's what you want from these companies. You don't want a 12K printer. You don't want a 15K printer, 150K printer. You want good customer service and for them to honor the stuff that you bought from them. Now, I'm not saying to have a printer for 5 or 10 years and then, you expect, them to service or whatever like that, because firmware updates and stuff, like, they're not going to support that firmware anymore. They can't or whatever. So, I mean, you really, really want them to be a good sport to a certain point and honor their product. So yeah. Yeah. So instead of releasing a model every 6 months, release like one a year. I have a solution to that. So I have an idea that companies could do for they could make money and give a variety, a choice to people. And it's very, very simple. So let's say if Elegoo for 2024 wants to release new printers or whatever, release a series of the same design of a printer, just in different build volumes or different things that people would really want to see, like the features we were talking about. Like if you have a larger vat of resin, you're going to need something with a consistent temperature, especially if you are up north or in a cold environment. You need that heat to really keep that resin thin enough where it's actually going to be able to print or whatever. Because otherwise you're just going to have a bunch of failed prints. Your smaller ones or whatever like that, just make them upgradable. Like different things that you could add onto the printer, to whether it be like a swap out vat of some sort, different types of build plates or whatever. I know when I got my Uniformation GK2, they sent the normal build plate and then they sent a smaller one. That way you could actually probably do a little bit taller print rather than having to fill that thing up with resin, because it would not elevate the resin levels or whatever. You could put more in there. So that's kind of a neat thing that I would do. So Corey just said it. Make them upgradable. Exactly. I mean, we know that you can upgrade firmware. So why not upgrade settings for, like, make certain resins, like you got your translucent resin, you got your tough resins and so on and so forth. Why not make upgradable presets that you have actually ran and tested in the printers for your newbies, or people just, they don't want to experiment with this crap. Give them some presettings that work. Why can't you upgrade that? I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, that would be kind of cool. It would kind of take a lot of the guesswork out. I mean, if I had presets that worked with a certain type of resin, I don't know. I see them on the bottles and stuff. They give you recommended exposure times and things like that with certain printers. But what about your printer? If you have Elegoo resins or whatever, why not come up with a presetting? Say, okay, look, we got a printer here. It's got the heated vat. It's going to work in any type of controlled environment, any type of setting or whatever like that. Then You can run it in a cold environment because it's heated. So we got some presets for you. Bam, there you go. Try them out. That is a good starting point. Let's say the presets don't even work, but at least you're getting a starting point where you can kind of tweak it and not be out in left field, especially if you're a new person coming into resin printing. Because I tell you right now, that's why FDM printing is so much popular than resin printing, because of the ease of doing things with an FDM printer. No mess. You don't have to dress in a hazmat suit when you have a failure or anything like that. People just don't want to go through the agony of it. So if they had something like some presettings or something like that, that would make more sense, and they'll have people to go, okay, well, the other stuff is probably not so bad if I have something like that I'm looking forward to, if I have like an end game of printing this with. So just my soapbox here. I mean, and you could even have like presets for your vat. I mean, like for your heated vat, the temperature would get up to a certain degree. I think Uniformation actually has that. If I'm not mistaken, you can dial in and out of the temperature and everything. But why not everybody do it? I mean, some of your more popular brands, why not do that? Let me tell you why. Because then they would have a $1,200 printer and they don't think anybody's going to buy it. But look at Uniformation. The biggest bitch and complaint that people had was, that's a $900 printer. I'm not buying that thing. That's a $900 printer. Blah, blah, blah. And so once they finally saw what it could do and the results or whatever, then Uniformation exploded. They sold the fire out of those things so much that they ran out. And now they're having all kinds of production issues and stuff. And I think they're getting back on track. So, yeah. So Quinn, I was getting ready to say this. Epaax has made all their printers upgradable. Upgrades are way too expensive. 2K color, AK mono, $800. And what has happened to Epaax from that? Their company's pretty much like in the toilet. I don't think anybody uses Epaax anymore, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah. So yeah, my wife is so smart. She's like, these companies are knee-jerk reacting and chasing money rather than developing a solid multi-pronged product and marketing strategy. Bam! I mean, you couldn't say it any better than that. But yeah, I mean, if they make this stuff upgradable, and they could charge you for the upgrades, they still make money off of it. Let's say you have, Elegoo comes out with the Uranus 5K or the Uranus 10K. Let's just say that. But you got Joe Schmo over here, who is a seasoned printer, who is looking for something a little bit better for some different features that they've investigated into, like the heated vats, the nice shell casing that comes out, the higher resolution screens or glass tops and stuff, glass screens. So they're satisfied. Then you got Billy Joe Jim Bob here, who has been into it for a little bit. They want another printer because the one that they bought is just not enough to keep up with their printing capacity. All right. With these features gives them a little bit enticing to buy that printer because they don't currently have it. All right. So that's a win-win situation for that customer. Then you have Kenny G over here, who basically is getting into resin printing, that knows absolutely nothing about it because he's refusing to go onto YouTube and Google and investigate and stuff like that. But yet, here this printer it's the latest and greatest toy. It's the new shiny thing. It has presets to help Kenny establish some sort of beginning point into resin modeling. So let's say Kenny tries, he does everything he's supposed to do. He didn't do any investigating about this printer whatsoever, but he's got presets. He's got presets. He can go in there and establish those presets, do a calibration print or whatever like that, and get going right up and kind of work from there. So Kenny G is printing saxophone parts. So yeah. Oh geez. I could talk about this crap all day. Bama here is Kenny G printing saxophone parts. Why not? Oh man, don't be knocking Kenny G. Dude's a badass. Let me see what Quinn says. I take a legit large format printer that can be upgraded every other year as long as it was cheaper than buying a new unit and can compete with the newer models. So yeah, I mean that's what I'm talking about. Like again, it's something that you could have for a couple of years and you're just upgrading the firmware. You're upgrading like with certain settings and stuff like that. You're not having to go out and buy a new printer when a new one comes out. And the company is still making money off of you. Because let's face it, it's just like having a cell phone or let's just say an Xbox or PS5 or whatever. That company doesn't make much money off of the unit itself. It makes money off of the services, the games, correct? The accessories. So why not implore the same type of marketing concept? And with these printers, where these companies can come out with a new printer, okay, and then you have upgradable things, presets, little things like that. You can have different types, different size vats, build plates, or whatever like that, and neat little accessories. And bam, there you go. FDM printers, they print their own stuff for those printers from to kind of trick them out. I mean, why can't these resin companies do the same thing with the resin printers? So, yep, everything is made disposable. It's not made to last or be serviceable. It's just like a car these days. My son works in the automotive industry, and he tells me stories all the time about how, cars 15,000 miles and are already have new brake pads put on. I mean, come on, man. Somebody didn't do their justification right there on that one. They didn't do their R&D on that one good enough. They just wanted to get it out there in front of customers because they want that money. But I mean, as a consumer, I want to get the biggest bang for my buck. And I want to be able to enjoy the hobby, spend more time printing than fooling with settings and things like that. I'm not saying, oh, I don't want to do the legwork on this or whatever, but there comes a fine line between spending all of your time with the wrong printer, you thinking you got the right printer, then something new comes out and you're confused, and finally you just say, screw it, I'm done. I'm not going to print anymore. So, let's see. John says he uses his Mono X and love it. Finally able to buy replacement screens now. But yeah, but eventually they're going to start making those screens more expensive than the printers themselves. Lunatech says he still uses CR10 as his daily. Hey, I use the CR10. I can't remember for how long until the thing finally crapped out. I mean, like it burned up or something like that. Jermaine posted the Dragon on the Facebook group. Okay, yeah. Hey, if you're not part of the Facebook group, go over there and join it. Of course, it's free. Yeah. Quinn says, I'll stick with my 32-year-old truck with 600,000 miles before I buy a new vehicle. Well, I mean, I can tell you that when you buy new vehicles, I mean, before they're even sold, they have recalls. I mean, you don't see them recalling printers, do you? Exactly. Think about it. They're going to put out a hunk of junk out there and sell it, and they're not going to recall it. If it screws up, guess what? Just SOL. The screen is $129.99 for that Mono X. You can get the Mono X for what, $179 now? $179 or $189, I think. So by the time you pay for the screen, you can buy the unit for like $60 more and get a brand new unit. So yeah. Let's see what else. I mean, here's another thing. If you are a printer manufacturer, why wouldn't you like come up with some type of software system that can get people started to making like certain little things like compatible with your printers? I mean, yeah, I'm not talking about anything full blown like ZBrush or anything like that because that's a different art in itself. But kind of give them like a little bit of a basis sort of things, almost like what is it? What am I thinking of? Some type of AutoCAD program or something like that. Something that people can fiddly around with or whatever like that to, to kind of get them started, like to do test prints or whatever. I know they're calibration prints and everything, but I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking outside the box a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, this is true right here. So speaking of recalls, Bamboo is having a big recall issue with the new A1, and I saw that coming because here's the thing. It goes back to what we were talking about. It's the new shiny thing. They had such a success with that AMS program or a system that they had, and people were buying it left and right, and they were just coming out and selling them and everything like that. They had to get the new printer right behind it, and they didn't put enough R&D into that. So I mean, I don't have any sympathy for them whatsoever. It's all about money. They should have just kept promoting that printer and doing certain things like we were talking about, upgradable sort of things or whatever, accessories or whatever, and then taking their time with the next printer instead of pushing out some garbage or whatever. So I don't have any sympathy for them. Yep. So 3D printer technology really isn't advancing much, needs to be more open sourced. So that's what I'm talking about. I don't know how much they are going to be able to advance right now in its current state. So why not give the consumers some of these things they've been asking for instead of putting them off rather than coming out and going, because the stuff that I've seen, like for example, the Frozen Sonic Mega 8K. They had the newer one, which is the 8KS. I think I can't remember. I'm brain farting here, but the 8KS had a smaller build plate, had the funky handled thing that the cover on it, and it just looked a hot mess. I mean, some people really dug it because it was a little cheaper. I think it was still over $1,000, like $1,300. It's better than the $3,200 unit that I have over here that Frozen sent me. But I mean, why? And if you have that, why would you want to downgrade? That's not an upgrade. That's a downgrade. I mean, if you're, I think they just figured, oh well, wait a second, we're not selling these $3,000 units because it's way too overpriced. Let's come up with something cheaper for the consumer, but we're going to have to dummy it down a little bit and make it crappier, I guess you could say, so people can afford it. So, um, I mean, I think that they're going to have to do something along that line. This year will be interesting to see because so many people are getting out of statue collecting, like mass producing statue collecting. That hobby is pretty much dead. Those people, those toxic people that are in that collecting unit or collecting crew, club, or whatever you want to call it, has kind of done it to themselves. And so now more and more people are getting into 3D printing. A lot of people are getting into like the Warhammer, printing their own minis and things like that. And they're getting fed up with high prices and shipping prices and stuff like that. So if some of these companies really want to hone in some of these new customers or these new hobbyists that are getting into it, that's the way to do it right there. So, hey, we got Zez Patreon in the house. How's it going, buddy? Look, we had Jules earlier. Now we got Zez in the house. I feel like a celebrity. I got these guys coming in on the live stream. It's very, very cool. If you have not checked out Zez Studio, you need to, because they got the stuff. I mean, their models are excellent. It's the Patreon party. That's right. Go over and check out Zez. Again, they're putting out quality stuff, and they're putting out quality stuff and doing a really good job. Just like Jules. Jules has two Patreons, a horror Patreon and a comic Patreon. putting out some killer models. Both of these guys, both of these Patreons are. I will support them 110%. Great customer service on both of them. So go over and check them out. Enzo, how's it going, buddy? So Enzo is one of my artists that I work with. And we got some pretty cool projects coming up. You guys are going to dig them. Going to really, really like them. So awesome. All right, guys. So I will turn this over now to any type of Q&A, anything you want to know, anything that you might want to ask or comment on or anything like that. Please be kind. Please. There are monitors. They're in this chat room and stuff like that. I don't want you to get thrown off of here. Oh, and Zez and Jules, if you want to post a link to your Patreon, post it in the comments. That way everybody can go over there, click on it, see what you guys have to offer. Okay, so I did not know this. This is different. EPAX makes their money from the dental industry, so their need for servicing the general public isn't much of a concern. I have an E10. It's a giant paperweight because a new screen will cost you. Okay, so maybe they're not catered to the average consumer like that. So, yeah, there you go. That's why EPAX is not much of a competitor anymore. If they're geared towards that, I'm sure they're making a ton of money off that. The dental industry and any type of medical profession or whatever like that is just, it's insane. Don wants to know where I get most of my models from two of these guys right here, from Jules Modelado and Zez Studios. I also I get stuff from Wicked. And I also kind of just different other patrons. If something just really catches my eye, I'll buy the model or whatever. Let's see. So Jules, do you want to comment on what is coming up in your Patreon? Like what you have coming up as far as your horror model and your comic model. And I know Zez just said that he has the Black Panther is coming up. Working on Black Panther. I've seen Black Panther and it is one too cool of a model. That's going to be a video. So here's a question here. Have you heard anything about Apex Maker 3D printers? I backed their Kickstarter, but they haven't been really good with communication. I have, and I heard exactly what you just said. They have not been great with communication whatsoever. I think they have not really sold very much on their Kickstarter, so I think they're having trouble with it. Here we go. Jules has coming up Violator. Coming up is the February character in the comic fan tier. You don't know who Violator is. It's the Spawn villain. So you got Spawn, you got Violator, two of the main characters and stuff. I know he's going to kill it because Violator is right up Jules' style. I love Jules' style. And it's going to be awesome. And let's see here, for the horror tier, he's got Freddy Krueger coming out in February. Freddy Krueger coming up. You know, you got to do Freddy, man. All right, so let's see here. Okay. What will Uniformation's next machine be like? I have no idea. I know it's going to be titled the Uniformation GK3. I think it was supposed to have been out in December, but because of the whole debacle thing that they had going on with the Black Friday thing or whatever like that, they're trying to really get everything out to their customers and fulfill orders and stuff like that before they drop a new printer, which is smart. But I can tell you that I have given them plenty of feedback over the past year and a half of what to look for. They've been asking me questions. I'm sure they've been doing the same thing with other influencers and reviewers. And I'm sure that hopefully they take some of that feedback and make something happen out of it. Let's see. Oh, if you guys are not familiar with Sergeant Digital Designs YouTube channel, he also has a YouTube channel. Go over and check out Sarge's work. Let's see. Yeah, so this Apex maker right here has been a nightmare. What few are getting their items are majorly damaged, can't get replacement parts for a few months. Yeah. That thing was shipped like crap. The inside pegs and stuff like that were the supports were bent and they were just just damaged. It looked like, Lionel Messier was kicking the crap out of him or something. So Zez, if you're on here, you got a question for you. Will the Black Panther be comic or movie based? I can tell you it's going to be movie based, but it's going to be a really nice model. Let's see here. Will DLP replace LCD? I don't think it will. I think that LCD is going to be here for a while. DLP is a technology that really hasn't been touched on when it comes to 3D printing. It's very, very slow right now. Who is it that has the patent on it? Is it Texas Instruments or something like that? And they're being difficult with some of these companies. I can't remember who it is, but whoever has the patent on it is just being an impossible flagellating butthead. But I don't think it'll ever fully replace LCD. Here's something from Jules, guys. This month, I am celebrating my first year on Patreon. The gift for my horror tier show was Freddy Krueger's phone. So I can tell you it's complete with a tongue. Oh my God, it's crazy looking. But yeah, if you're part of his Patreon, your horror Patreon, that's what you'll get. Very cool gift. Let me see here. Well, hold on a second. He just sent me a picture of the suit. Hold on, let me look on my phone. I got my phone turned on silent because otherwise it'd be dinging like crazy. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Let's hold on one second. Here we go. Here's the photo. I don't know if I can blow it up that big. Let me see if I can kind of get it up to the screen here. If you guys can kind of see a little bit of that. That's going to be kind of the suit, which looks really, really cool. I saw it earlier, and it looks very, very awesome. So you guys got to check that one out. Let me see. RL says, "Hey, what about some Planet of the Apes characters? You don't see those very often. As a matter of fact, I haven't seen any at all." Here you go, Jules. What about a ladies' run? Elvira, Lily, Vampira. That would be cool. I'd love to see a really good Elvira. Oh, and Corey wants to know if the Freddy phone is a 1:1 scale already if you have to upscale it. I'm kind of wondering that myself. If you can answer that for us, Jules. Let's see. Thank you, Lord DK. Here you go. New movie coming out. Would be great to do some Planet of the Apes. You heard it from Zez. Maybe that's in the future, guys. That would be cool. I would totally print those. Has anyone ever done Silverhawks? No, I think a lot of Wicked has been getting a lot of demand on some Silverhawks and stuff like that, but I don't know if they're going to do anything. So okay, cool. So there you have it, guys. I mean, when you get some Patreons in here that when you get a couple of Patreon creators in here and stuff, you kind of make things happen when you start asking questions. We put you guys on the spot, man. Let's see, Spaceballs. I did see somebody doing 1/6 characters for yogurt. The Mel Brooks Yoda. Yeah. Helen Slater Supergirl would be cool. Oh, what is this? Zez and Jules collaboration? What? Dude. Dude, that would be freaking gangbuster right there. These two guys doing something together? What? Get out of here. I'd pay double for that. What do you guys? Come on. If you guys want to see that, give me a hell yeah. There's 53 people here. 53 people on the chat right now. I want 53 hell yes. Come on, right now. Here we go. You want to see Zez and Jules collab on something? Yep. Here we go. Come on. Ultraman would be good. Yeah. All right, here we go. We got Quinn, Richard on here. John, Don. Yep. Corey, Mike, Jermaine, New Supply. There you go, guys. Come on. Yeah. I would love to see like a Planet of the Apes collaboration between these two artists. That would be super duper. I mean, like if you have like maybe do some type of diorama where you have one person doing part of the diorama that maybe connects together or something like that, two different pieces. Oh my God, that would be badass. That would be badass. What? Look at this. It would be a special edition for creative collectors. There you go. Now we're talking. You guys got me excited, man. Oh man, that would be so cool. I know you guys are busy, but man, if you could make that happen, I'm sure that we could premiere that on a video, or we could do a live stream and have both of you guys on here. Here we go. We'll premiere it on a live stream, have both you guys on here on a live stream, and we'll do the video. We'll have you guys on for the video as well. I mean, yeah, we'll just make some stuff happen, man. All right, guys, they're saying they're going to get to work on this. We're going to see. Let's do it. All right. You guys heard it first right here. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, man, that would be super cool. That would be so a Planet of the Apes collaboration between two of the best patrons out there right now, Zez Studios and Jules Malado. It does not get any better than that. Banana splits around their car. Oh my God, that would be so cool. I'm sorry, guys. I really get into this sort of thing. I have a passion for this hobby like no other. So when we are able to do something like that for you guys and make something like that come together, it excites me, man. It really does. So, all right. So guys, with that, we're going to leave on a high note tonight. We've been here for an hour and a half. We had some pretty exciting topic to talk about. We got some ideas flowing around. Hopefully some of these companies will bounce off some of these ideas. I don't know if anybody would look at this video and any of these manufacturers or whatever, but you know what? Write into them, email them, message them, bug the shit out of them, and get some of this out there to them so we can get what we want. I don't give a damn about no 10K, 12K, 14K marketing crap. I want a cool printer to print stuff over and over again flawlessly, something I could have, an upgradable system, machine that fits my needs. I'm sure you guys want the same thing. So Absolutely, man. That's what we want. And then we got a good collaboration, hopefully, in the works here. So you never know what you're going to get on these live streams, I guess, guys. All right. So I think we just broken the interwebs. Oh, it's a long way from breaking the interwebs, man. But man, this is so cool. So we broke version 5G. All right. So, guys, share this live stream. Get it out there to people. I mean, let them see what let them see what we've accomplished tonight. You know, we've actually done something. Yeah, we just did something amazing here. So that's very, very cool, guys. But hey, I'm getting ready to go eat some dinner, and man, I'm super excited for that. I'm super excited to be back doing live streams, dropping that video today. On your way out, make sure you hit that like button, because if you don't hit that like button, if you don't like this stream based on what we've accomplished here tonight, then you need some help. I don't know what else I can give you. I mean, great ideas from you guys, great questions. Two of the best Patreon creators on here at the same time talking about a collaboration. What else do you want? I mean, what else do you want? So awesome. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being on here. Jules, Zez, thank you guys for being on here. And if, again, check out my Patreon. Love to have you over there. Check out the new video I dropped today. Go over there. Check it out. It's part of a new series I'm going to be doing for painting. I'm going to be doing separate series for printing. I'm trying to do a little bit different things rather than just painting the model and letting you see in a bunch of a bunch of fast-paced type stuff. I want you to retain something, get something out of it. So that's why I'm doing these series. I actually got some podcasting I'm going to be doing here relatively soon too as well. And we're back into the live stream. So everybody, thank you for coming out tonight. I appreciate it with all my heart. You guys rock. You guys make this happen. What else can I say? Other than stay safe, get out and create something, print, prep, paint, repeat. And until the next live stream or until the next video, smash that like button. Check out the new video. We'll see you. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Night, John Boy.